Well, Chris, thanks for the challenge. I really appreciate that. We're going to do a demonstration of some of the do's and don'ts and best practices that Chris has just discussed and talked about. And so I want a show of hands. Who does visualizations, or their organization do most of their visualizations through Excel? Okay. And how about databases? Okay, fewer people with databases. Or how about the visualizations through business applications that we all use and you need to extract it? Fewer. And how about open data? Even fewer. Okay, so this demonstration that we're going to show is using the power of business intelligence and going out to the open data portal and bringing in the data and being able to visualize it and build tools from what's already out there from the public for consumption. So, well, the story is that we were in a work group, and the work group was data visualization. And Dr. Kuhatsu brought up, hey, it would be nice to have a tool to work with our patients or even the people out there to find out where are all the services, the community services and healthcare services, and be able to consume it and be able to find and search and do whatever they need on a mobile device or a tablet. So thinking about that, we went back and we developed a proof of concept working with him and others, and to say, well, first of all, we had to find out, well, where was the data? And being from working in Health and Human Services Agency for over 20 years, I pretty much knew that there is some data on the portal, and being a part of that, I searched out and we found that there was some community health data and also, of course, healthcare services data. So the process was to be able to extract that data that's already out there for open data, which is already in a tabular format, tabular meaning rows and columns, and taking that data, connecting to that data, and then being able to build a tool for that. And so that was the challenge. And then we had on top of that the best practices that Chris had laid out about the do's and don'ts and how we're going to do all this into one proof of concept. So we're still working on it, and we're fine-tuning our data models and stuff, but this is what we came up with. And so feel free to, oops, let me go back. That URL, that tiny URL, feel free to copy that, put it into your devices right now if you want to, or come down to our kiosk, and you can play with this dashboard and that we built and give us suggestions and follow-ups and whatnot. But the whole process was to take from the open data what was already there, mash up the data, combine it, and then come up with the tool. Okay. So we took from the Community Services Development Department, published that onto the Health and Human Services Open Data Portal, and so did Public Health. And so we took those data and we combined it and created a data model. And in that data model, we wanted a simple dashboard that could the content could go across multiple devices, whether it was a desktop, phone, or mobile device, and then we wanted to publish it, and then we wanted to refresh the data as well, and so that the consumer, the citizen, or the provider, or whatever, didn't have to worry about anything. It was the latest data, and we're leveraging what the government has already put out there, Health and Human Services. So it's a much easier, consumable way of getting to search and to find services, other than basically much easier than working with columns and rows and tables. So we provide that, and then we also created the dimensions, categories, measures, and so forth. So the goal again was to make it accessible, and the audiences was for the public, the people that were consuming the data for the citizen. Also, it could be used internally as a tool instead of having to go to these separate websites and basically print out where these services were for their clients and whatnot. So it was easily accessible. And then we also wanted to, the intent was also to so that you can explore, and it was simple visualization. The consumption was many devices. We wanted to basically apply some visual grammar to simplify it, make it easier for, and actually much pleasing to the eye, a little eye candy there, and to also make it interactive so that you can touch and feel and filter within the dashboard in a tablet format. So this is the community services dashboard. You'll see two dashboards when you go to the site. One is based upon community services, so you would be able to touch it and say, okay, first of all, you need to know what kind of services were out there. Where were they located? So we took the longitude and latitude that was provided from the open data, mashed that up, and then we geo-mapped it, and then you can go to the county and then easily find out where these services are and where am I at and how far am I away from them and where to go get to them instantaneously. This is the healthcare services, and this is where we're trying to apply the best practices that Chris has put out there. You can see, first of all, you can see that you can filter by the county, and then you have descriptive information as well. So it's basically giving you the name, the address, the services, the zip code, and everything that you need right there at your fingertips. We also did calculations in our data model to create the facts. So we wanted to know how many providers, how many services or whatnot in that area. And then we also did the categories. And so we have the visual grammar and the dimensions. And so what types of services, how many of those services in descending order. So on your dashboard, when you go to it, you can just touch it and then everything will filter out and ripple across. So that's how it was interactive. And so the value, of course, was it was easy to navigate. We took the longitude, latitude, and we mapped it. And it runs on any device, and it refreshes, and it's leveraging all the work that the government has done on the open data portal. And so we can mash up not just this, but other types of data all into one place and create those data models and create those joins for other people, those cross-references of different departments and different needs. And that's what a data scientist basically does. He's taking data from everywhere and bringing it all together, mashing up, and then visualizing it and making it accessible and bringing value to those tabular formatted data sets. And once again, it's delivering consumable information, and it's relevant, and and we're sharing. There's multiple uses for it, and it's a source of the truth. It's an easier way to digest it, and it helps government transparency. They're putting the data out there, and it's just a way of packaging it up and redelivering and making it more useful. So that's a good thing. Self-service. Basically, anybody with the Power BI, it's a Microsoft product, but anybody can do this. You can build from the open data, you can connect to it, you can bring it all together, you can visualize it, you can do any kind of calculation or whatever through this Power BI service. And of course, they're interactive dashboards. And so I guess this was just a demonstration of the power of Power BI connected to that great open data portal that they put out there, and leveraging that and packaging it up and creating a website. So that's the end of my presentation, and I'd like to bring up Paul from DMV for his internal uses of data visualizations. Thank you.